Implementation overview for the peer tutoring format and implementation of the intervention in your school. How do we set up the evaluation? So the evaluation is aimed at a targeted intervention for Year 3 students for mathematics. So you identify a target group of students who are struggling in this particular area of this concept in maths. What you then do is you put on the trial wizard the number of students who are in your target group, and then the system randomly allocates these into an intervention and control group. Then all the students complete the pre-assessment, so the intervention and the control. The intervention students then complete 6 peer tutoring sessions, while the control group students continue as normal. And then both groups complete the post-assessment. And then after the post-assessment is done, then the control group can then start the peer tutoring sessions. The intervention. So the target group is an intervention which focuses on Year 3 pupils. The lessons are on addition and subtraction, and they're delivered by your Year 5 peers. Each lesson is structured, and all the resources are included in the resource folder. And the time for each lesson takes approximately 20 to 25 minutes for the peer tutor to deliver this. So the lessons which are included in the addition and subtraction peer tutoring program are number, facts and counting, mental addition strategies, partitioning to add and subtract, number lines and estimating, column addition, and then column subtraction. So the resources can be used either electronically in PowerPoint or as printed worksheets. So one thing that we do say is that if you're using as a PowerPoint, then you can use these on Chromebooks, laptops or iPads, and this will help reduce printing. And what students quite often like when they run these programs is, rather than writing on paper, is actually using whiteboards so that they can work through the answers and the models with their peer tutors. So that's just a few things that you can potentially do when you look at the resources on how you could implement this in your school. And next, it's moving on to selecting and training your peer tutors. So it's important, if you're a Year 3 teacher, to work with your Year 5 counterpart to select students who will benefit most from the opportunity to be a peer tutor. We advise you to provide the lesson resources 1 week in advance to your tutors so they're familiar with the content, and if they're unsure with anything, they can then work with the teacher or TA to reinforce any concepts that they need to go through. And you might want to consider using this approach as a targeted intervention as part of your pupil premium strategy. We do include a peer tutor training PowerPoint, which you can use to talk through what peer tutoring is and just to give you some guidance on the key messaging that you can provide to your peer tutors. Key considerations. Logistical issues need to be considered before using a peer tutoring program as an intervention in your school. The first one is time. Is there suitable time for a peer tutoring program in the school day? This takes between 20 to 25 minutes to complete. Intensity. Will this be a weekly intervention, or will it be twice a week? So this dictates whether it will be a 3 or 6 week program. Location. Is there a suitable location in the school for the peer tutoring? Could this be in the classroom, or will this be in the library? Supervision. Who will be the person who will be supervising the peer tutoring lessons? Could this be the teacher, or could this be a teaching assistant? Reminders. It's really important to have potential reminders for the students on the day that they have a peer tutoring session so that they can turn up on time for this to be delivered. And that's both for the tutors and the tutees. And resources. Are digital devices or worksheets, the whiteboards and rubbers available on the day for these to be used? And then finally, rewards. We do include a certificate that you can use, but you could potentially include rewards such as house points just to engage students in completing the intervention. Logistical barriers are common in any intervention delivered in schools, so it is important to consider these prior to starting this intervention in your school. One thing that we do include in the resource folder is a tracking Excel spreadsheet, and this is because we anonymize all student data before it goes onto the platform. So you can see from here that you would basically have your students as student 1, 2, and 3, and when these are allocated on the system, just allocate your student name so you can track who is in the intervention and who is in the control, and it will allow you to keep a track of your pre-assessment scores and post-assessment scores. So moving on to the assessment, the outcome measure is an attainment defined by the pre and post assessment, which is included in the resource folder. It's marked out of 21 and it's the same for both the pre and the post assessment. So as both the control and intervention groups receive the same one, familiarity with assessment will not bias the effect size. And then finally, just moving on to assessment guidance before you start, please ensure that you complete the assessment under exam style conditions. You can allow approximately 21 minutes for the assessment and then record your pre and post assessment scores on your tracking spreadsheet. And then at the correct moment on the platform, when the wizard asks you, please just add these into the evaluation stage.